welcome to the studio.
Thank
This is
you.
Chinedu Anichi TV, the African voice in diaspora. So you are welcome, sir. Just officially, please, can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure. I'm a engineer, Catholic, business owner, and candidate for Missouri's 23rd Senate District. I'm running against three guys who are all competing against each other in a pretty knives out race. Just all fighting for space under Trump's shadow, and they have just kind of forgotten about taking care of their actual county and constituents. Since 2020, so many of us have been just simply trying to survive week to week, kept in constant fear of looming disease, war, famine, death. And if you're sitting down to vote this August, in 5 days, um, you're thinking, no matter who wins, I lose. That's why I'm running, because I needed to know that, like, I when I look at the slate of candidates and I see no good options, then sounds like it's time to step up.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dan. You heard is an engineer, a small business owner, and somebody who has the interest of the masses, those who are don't just don't want to warm the bench. You want to participate actively in the policy making that will make humanity feel what they should feel, think what they should think, and have what they should have. And he is still here telling us that he's competing with three other guys. And in 5 days' time, I think in 5 days' time, the final decision will be made. And he is here today to just show you himself and tell you what he has as his own agenda, or what you call manifesto. So that naturally, in my disposition, I understand that in every glory there is a story. And those stories are very important when it comes to mindsets and followership. So I know before you came to this status, you had a good upbringing. And can you tell us what looks like a story before this your glory?
You want to know? Sorry, you want to know my story before I
No,
started
no, it's
running?
not. I'm just trying to say
Oh,
that to let the people know I was in high school. I was normal like you, and
oh yeah. No, I'm a
so
product of the Fort Zumwalt School District. I went to public school all my life. I went down to I got my degree at University of Missouri Rolla, and then graduated with a degree in structural engineering in 2008, where I started working as a furniture mover, because that's what it was like living here in 2008, when even an engineering degree didn't do it right. And that's when I started getting politically active. I needed to know, like, I was sitting in my parents' basement being told to be grateful for my job as a furniture mover, and yet I'd done everything right all the way throughout my life. I went to school, I got a real degree, and I did all these things right, and then I'm still working as a furniture mover. I needed somebody to explain to me what exactly happened, because just like, oh, I don't know, the economy, no, that's not good enough. I need answers, real answers.
so that's
So
good. That's good. So I love that. Some people, when they see people vying for positions, they will not understand these people were like us. They started from somewhere, and their lives should encourage us. Their lives should be like a book for us to read and follow, because nobody just came from nowhere and started vying for positions. They have a story that led to that glory, and you've just done justice to it, so that people will know you went to school, you studied, you passed through classes and teachers before you became an astute engineer, and you did well in the field, and that's why you have the guts to say, I have something to put up politically in my people's constituency. So thank you, Dan, for
well, sure,
saying.
it's I mean, it's not even really guts. It's just when you see that, like, when I happen to have the time and resources to be able to put my name out there, and just willingness to do it. I've been in a leadership position all my life, and then when you start looking at just the statistics of where our state's been going, somebody has to step up and do something, and that's where it's not too hard to make the choice to just step up and try.
Yeah, you just told us that you have three people you're running this race with, and what do you think you have differently from what they have been doing since 2020? Some of them since 2020.
All three have held state offices before, and all three have had their part in setting our state up for where we are now, which is worse jobs, worse taxes, more pollution, and a infant mortality rate somewhere between Qatar and Kuwait. Like, we are a first world country with the best healthcare system in the world, yet we can't get enough children to the fifth birthday to place higher than 70th in the world. If we're supposed to be pro-life, that's not doing it right. And also, since our two current state reps have been in office, that number's only gone up by 15%.
Okay, that's
and
great.
before you get into all the meddling they've done in schools and bullying children, making them feel uncomfortable, making them feel, and only helping increase the skyrocketing suicide rate in children because they don't feel they have a future. Because what have we done to inspire hope or any kind of sense of future or purpose in the next generation?
Wow, that's good. So I know that Trump is the presidential candidate of the Republicans, and he's a man that a lot of people celebrate, and some other people might think he's not worth celebrating. What's your own view about his candidature this time?
President Trump did a great job restoring or giving states the right to choose. Right now, state legislatures have more power than they have had since before the Civil War. We are responsible for our own destiny. So whether Trump wins or loses, it doesn't matter because states have so much power to choose for themselves. And that's not going to go away anytime soon. But that means it's on us to tell our state legislators to fix the problems that we are seeing in the world. That means, like, if there's kids starving, we need to feed them. We can't expect the federal government to do it because we have the responsibility, not just the right, but the responsibility to take care of each other.
Well, sure, that's great. So, if eventually, by God's grace, you get to this seat, what is your plan on having a facelift with your people regularly? Do you have a plan on the way of having something? There's something we call like conferences periodically, interacting with your subjects and your constituents. Do you have a plan like that?
Of course. I would be hosting weekly meetings, and of course, I'd be going on more shows like yours. Honestly, I think if you look at how Senator Eigel has remained in touch with his constituency, I think it's actually a pretty successful model. He's on podcasts, TV shows with pretty good regularity, and he is always out among people.
Okay, that's good. So, what's your advice to young people? Because a lot of where I got to know about you on my research was what the youths and some university students were talking about you. That's how I got to know about you. So, what's your particular interest in the youths?
For high schoolers, it can get better. It will get better. And it is, and you should always know your worth. The older generation, the boomer generation, is getting old and leaving the economy. That means we are losing one COVID's worth of people every year. Just if you look at the numbers of people turning 65 versus the number of people turning 18, we're losing that many people from our economy every year. So that means the labor market is going up. They're like, you've never been in more demand. Whenever I hear nobody wants to work anymore, they just leave out the part, nobody wants to work for me anymore, because you have to be able to pay well, you have to take care of your people, and if you don't, they'll find somebody that will. Now I promote the right to organize and the right to strike, so that way we can even lobby for better rights, better wages. But also, you can still negotiate for yourself, because they need you more than you need them.
Yeah, good. One of the center things that when I put up your advert, naturally before I bring somebody to the show, I will make a flyer and put it out for people to look at. One of the things that my people are concerned, and some of people are already commenting from Instagram, is that they said one of the things that attracts them to you is your support for pro-life. Why did you decide?
Why am I pro-life?
Why did you choose to bring out pro-life as one of the points of your projection as a legislator by God's grace?
In today's politics, that is the issue. That is the issue that the November election will be decided on. It is a massive issue for our current legislative, or for our current election year, for every race at both the state and federal level. In November, Missouri will be voting on its Reproductive Freedom Act. And so whatever my position is or not, it's not actually even going to matter, because as a state, we are going to be voting once and for all, yes, no, on do women have a right to choose? And I've already committed to respecting that vote and not trying to do any delays or shenanigans should it go not my way. Because previously Republicans in the Senate have delayed things like right to work, Medicaid expansion, which still has not passed, even though we voted it in 65 to 40 or 65 to 35, because it's just been sitting in legislative delays due to our current legislators. So I will respect, I am running to support democracy and respect your vote. So if the people of Missouri tell us to put together a reproductive freedom amendment, then so be it. But if not, then the conversation is still over, because it's just been sitting in legislative delays due to our.
Great. I am happy that you are here today, and a lot of people are reacting. Mr. Dan, you're welcome to Chinedu Anichi TV show. Master, are you seeing comments on your dashboard?
Oh,
maybe
I just saw the private chat.
I don't know. Okay, but people are happy, and some of the people that are seeing you here today, they're happy. And eventually, these are people that are living within your constituency. And because on my ad drag, I decided to advertise it within the people that falls within the place you was within the District 23, from St. Peter's down to St. Charles here, where we stay. So it's good you're here. And one of the things people are appreciating is your humility, your simplicity. And that shows you have a human face. So
it is always important to remember
65% of my people, 65% of those who follow this platform are Africans. And one of the things we appreciate is those who have human face, those who have the spirit to interact with us. And that's the kind of reactions I'm getting from people. So what's your secret?
Just listen. Just truly listen to people. I love hearing their stories. I love getting to know them. If in my like I built my business as an engineer as being the guy who knows a guy. I can solve any problem. I know somebody that, or if I can't solve a problem, I know somebody that can. So I truly get to know people, listen to their stories, and help them actually solve their problems, by by arranging resources for them, pointing them in the right direction. I've helped so many people find jobs, find cars, find financing, find uh, even bully a company so they ended or their own company, or bully our company so they can get 2 to 3 times what they were making a year ago, because that's what happens when you're the only guy in a billion dollar manufacturing facility who can repair anything, and they've been paying you $10 an hour. So that was very satisfying, because I'm like, okay, so you're getting yelled at for going on vacation because they didn't, or you asked to go on vacation for the first time in years, and you weren't allowed to go on vacation because they couldn't find anybody to fix stuff while you were gone. Sounds like it's time to ask for a raise and go on vacation anyway.
That's great.
And next thing you know, we went from $10 an hour to $30 an hour within a couple weeks.
Mhm. Yeah. So if you watch, I don't know what your dashboard is showing. You can see we have 117 people already within watching what we're doing, and that's on Facebook. 117 people on
Mhm.
Instagram. Have a lot of people, and on YouTube. So why you're here today is to just interface with us, know us, and we also know you. And when issues that concerns you come up, we can make a choice.
Mhm.
And I want to tell you, with this kind of demeanor, with this kind of brand of your personality, you're sellable. You're sellable. That's what we call in Africa. I say you're looking for what is looking for you. You know, sometimes you might be looking for something that thing is not interested in you. So you make effort to convince or to make the person a disciple of your ideology. But when you're looking for something and eventually the same thing is looking for you, you don't need to make efforts. So
Just
I think you're a personality that we are looking for. So if you're looking for us, eventually you have found people looking for you.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's exactly because before I bring you naturally, what I do is that I try to advertise the person. I hear people's reactions and how the people feel about the person before I bring the person to the studio. So that's why when I'll be coming here, I'll just be looking at people's reaction. I'm just a tool. That's why they call the African voice in diaspora. I'm just a voice for others to speak. And they are speaking. You can see, let me just put up this on the page so that you see this. This is a press show. You see, International Press of African Community says you're really doing wonderful well. Okay.
Well,
A
thank you.
lot of people are saying, well, this one says, we love
Mhm.
Kona.
Well, and that phrase of yours is it's almost similar to just like follow the Holy Spirit. And in the last several months, I've had just an incredible chain of what some would call luck or some would call divine intervention. Um, like one thing that's come up for us is like the week after I filed to run, um, my dog Django was diagnosed with a with just cancer all in his face. Um, and the first thing he had, we knew he needed specialist treatment. We had to get him like just a proper cancer doctor, because the first doctor we saw said he's probably got 2 months to live unless you get some kind of treatment. And the usual waiting period for treatment like that is 2 to 3 months. But then we happened to find the Mizzou Oncology Clinic who happened to have somebody cancel 15 minutes before we called. And we were able to get in a week later, and he got the treatment he needed. And it was beautiful. All told, he needed 20 radiation therapy treatments. Each of those treatments needed 2 hours of technicians, plus access to their fancy laser gun, plus there was about 10 to 20 total hours of like very specialized doctor time in there, plus several scans, and each of those 20 times he needed a round of anesthesia. Now, if I told you how much do you think that would cost? How much do you think all of his treatment cost?
I can't fathom it. I can't figure it out because it's a serious program.
If I told you it cost $80,000, would you believe me? Because that's what it's about, the same stuff, same level of treatment and care that you or I would need, right? If we had cancer. Yet Django's bill was about $6,800 total. That's for all of that. But if I told you that, if I told you for $80,000 I'll cure your cancer, you drop it immediately and think that's a great deal. That's cheap. And that's one of the reasons I'm running. Our healthcare system is fundamentally broken. I know treating dogs is different from humans, but why is it 10 to 100 times more expensive? That's not right. And I don't think it's because doctors are being greedy or physicians or hospitals are being super greedy. I think it's because our insurance companies have profit incentives in all the wrong places. Aaron and I were blessed with resources to afford the procedures, and Django's since completed treatment and is doing well in recovery. But what if we all didn't have to worry like Django? What if we didn't? What if we had insurance systems that had a profit incentive to do right by us? Right now, 80% of Americans, and probably in about more than that in St. Charles, get their health insurance through their employer. And that means if you lose your job, you lose your health insurance. And I tell you what, Django's been going through cancer, he hasn't been feeling super great lately. He's been sleeping on the job a lot and has just been kind of moping around the house because turns out it sucks. But that also tends to make you a pretty bad employee. So why would an employer keep you around when you're in the worst state you need? You're just not keeping up. You're not making quotas. Say if there's a worldwide pandemic going on and employers are forcing people to come back to work. Well, great. So now you have to risk your life and come to work, or risk your life, quit your job, and lose your health insurance in the middle of a pandemic. That's not okay. So my primary goal, the biggest issue I've been pushing, is I want employers out of healthcare. We should all be able to buy our own insurance, not tied to our employment, not tied to anything else. Just each household decides what needs to get covered, what doesn't. And then insurance companies are fighting for your business. They're not trying to convince the lady in HR what the best plan is for you, because that's just two people who are only looking for the profit, or who are only looking out for their own bottom line. They're not looking out for your health. The insurance company is trying to make the most money, and the business your employer is trying to make the most money. So, but when they have to compete for your business, suddenly everybody cares much more about you and how you're feeling. And that's how we can get cancer treatments down to much more reasonable rates.
Wow, that's awesome, because all this meticulous analysis you're giving to this, all this, because for you to aspire to come up with policies that enumerate a lot of things. That means you took time statistically and meticulously to study the system and how it works.
Did I mention that I
So,
was an engineer? I'm not afraid to do the math. It's not hard.
okay, okay,
You just look at
because
these things and you're like, wow, okay, so this is the same level of treatment I would need as if I was going through radiation therapy, and yet it's at least a zero less, if not more. Like, what are we doing here? Something's wrong. Somebody explain this to me. Use numbers. I'm not afraid.
wow, wow, because the way you're presenting it, sometimes in the leadership training I've gone, one of the problems of leaders is that some of them don't have appraiser, the pragmatic appraiser of a situation before they start nursing up policies. So some of the policies will become a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't go in the way it should go. But I think it's your engineering tendency that gave you the gave you the
I'm just trying to work the
attitude.
problem. I'm looking at like what's the core issues here, and to
Yeah.
me, I look at our healthcare system and see the core issue is there's no profit incentive to do right by you or me. It's profit incentive to do right by because businesses. Like I've seen your show. You're always talking about business, but who is the customer to any business? It's the person that pays you, and I'm not the one that pays for my health insurance. That's Jack Dorsey because I get my insurance through Square because my wife has to stay in her job, and if she leaves, she's risking both of our lives to quit her job. So that means she can't quit. Not without taking a big risk for both of us.
Okay. I read a book by Norman Vincent. He called it The Power of Positive Thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the difference between can and cannot is the nut. If you throw away the nut, you can. I read another book by Scuba. He said tough times do not last, but tough people do. So I
Yes.
read a couple of books that has given me the disposition, a mindset for investigating positivity. So if this my mindset is in symphony with yours, after 5 days and you are victorious in this will you be humble enough to come back to this show and
Of
say,
course. Of course, especially seeing these comments, it's wonderful to see I actually have some support.
okay, okay,
Just with all the negativity out there, it's tough to find people saying something nice.
okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. This is what is your prayer generally, or what's your summarized point of order? Let me say point of order or point of reference for what American political system looks at this point.
This will be a deciding moment for so many things. The pro-life, pro-choice movement is coming to a head. So many states are doing a straight up or down vote and deciding once and for all, which I think is wonderful because we have been focused on that one issue for a generation now, and that means other issues have just gone by the wayside. I mean, because like I said, there's children suffering while people are throwing hate because you don't believe the same thing I believe on this one issue. Missouri passed its abortion ban in 2019. Before then, we were good for 4,000 abortions a year. Do some math. If that means we've got 200 babies per month extra going into the foster care system. There was not a single, they put no extra money towards that system. So that means these babies, we saved their lives. But now what? Just wish them the best of luck. They can get a job. We owe them more, and so that's where my biggest focus is just trying to fill the holes and fix the whole problem.
Okay, so can you look at the screen? Somebody else asked a question on the screen.
Well, so I'm running for state office, and so this would be something that Missouri would get on board with. And if Missouri doesn't align with the policy or my health insurance ideas, then they're just not going to get passed. It's still a democracy. But I also have much smaller goals in mind that I think will be like I fully admit my dreams for overhauling Missouri's health insurance system are very lofty. For much more immediate goals, I want to ban prior authorizations. I want to and I want to remove the ability for insurance companies to tell your doctors what treatment you need. Because I don't know if you've had that joy of the American health insurance system where your doctor's like, yeah, you really need this treatment, but your insurance says we have to go through these 3 other treatments first before we can do the one that we know is going to work. Because some clerk said I have to do this, who has no medical training or any doctorate training, and nobody asked her to participate in this conversation anyway. And that we can get rid of that overnight. And I think everybody, Republican and Democrat, is tired of that.
Yeah, that's good. So last time, when I was closing my house, I discovered that some of those who got the same size of house, I still in Newtown. You know, Newtown is a new
Oh yeah.
place. When I was closing my house, I discovered that my mortgage is higher than some of other people who had few months before me. And when I asked, they said it's because of the financial system of
Yes.
the country.
Yes.
And it's changing, and interest rate is going up, and that's why it's affecting our mortgage. So,
Yes.
and what are you? Do you have any plan for that on that policy level?
That is so mortgage rates are going up because they are all set by the federal bank. They set their interest rate that banks can borrow from, and then every time their interest rate goes up, everybody else's interest rate kind of goes up as a knock on from that. That is a million miles outside of what a state legislator can do. But so I can't help with that. But what I can do is fix the problem from the other side. I want to see everyone's wages double in the next 10 years. Because if we doubled everyone's salary, there would still be plenty of people that were just poor in poverty. There are still, and we would only just be able to start being able to afford houses ourselves. And I don't think we need we just need to encourage better jobs and more skills. St. Charles in the last couple of years, St. Charles has brought in a ton of new warehouse jobs, which are fine, but what's the farthest you can go with an unskilled laborer position in a warehouse? Like $15 an hour, maybe 25 if you make management. But how far can you get as a welder? How far can you get as an electrician or an HVAC technician or a heavy equipment operator? And so that's why one of my other big programs I want to see is incentivizing or essentially paying to train trade skills in anybody that wants to learn. Because that doesn't just, or because we, as Missouri, and especially St. Charles, live at the intersection of 2 of the largest rivers in the United States that go directly to the ocean. And every highway in the United States, just about every highway in the United States crosses through our territory. And now if you stock our area or our state full of trade skills and like underemployed welders, electricians, mechanics, machinists, it's going to be a manufacturer's wet dream. And we will get not just warehouse jobs, but real jobs, the kind of jobs you can retire from. And that is how you can afford your new home, by actually earning it. No handouts, no need to manipulate the economy. It's just make everybody incredibly marketable. And not just that, those trade skills, you can start your own business with too.
You know why I clapped when you were talking? I've gone personally on a campaign on one
Mhm.
man, one skill acquisition. It's a personal campaign I've been doing with this my platform, um, talking to people. Everybody cannot have um, a college or a university degree, and
Mhm.
people should go and acquire skill or trade. Because if
Yes.
you are a carpenter, people will continue to live in a house. As an electrician. So now, before I even asked you that question, I discovered you already had it in your plan. And
Mhm.
that's great because this, our society now, we need something like that. So,
Yes.
and I'm happy is part of your agenda.
And I still work with high school kids right now, um, through various other clubs and activities. And it has been inspiring to see kids today picking up on the fact that, like, you shouldn't go to college unless you know, like, kind of have a dream job that you're chasing that actually requires a college degree. But instead, looking at trade schools and thinking like, oh, we can, like, oh yeah, like I can pay a mortgage, pick up a mortgage worth of debt, and get a degree to go still work at Starbucks or work as a furniture mover like this guy, or I can go start making what 17 going up to $36 an hour minimum at a minimum, by learning how to be a mason. And by the time I get out of, or by the time the other guy is graduating college, I've already got a down payment for a house and my own side hustle business that I could turn into a proper rent paying business anytime I feel like it. Like, yeah, that's pretty attractive career prospect right there.
Yeah, that's great. So because that's a crusade I've been carrying personally
Mhm.
on that issue. I've interviewed a lot of people. I interview a lot of people that have different skills, electricians, plumbers, people. I put it up on my YouTube and will want people to watch and be encouraged to acquire skills. It has a lot to do. Even if you have college degrees, you have whatever, you can still have degree. You can still have a skill. Sometimes
Mhm.
there are things that will happen in your house right away. You don't need to put a call to somebody walking in to change an electricity bulb for you for just coming in is $75. So
$75. You got his card?
yeah,
Because I can't get, my
yeah,
guy won't come out for less than 200.
you see, and once you start another 1 hour, you're thinking of another money.
Yeah.
So, but this is eventually something you can do in your house.
Well, and it's something that is so cheap to do too. It's not like free college where, like, the state would have to kick out $200,000 to $300,000 to train somebody in a 4-year degree that only might get some use. But then they're also immediately going to get recruited by a firm outside the state, so we're never going to actually get that money back. But with trade skills, though, nobody really pulls those people out of state, and also it's total cost to train somebody and get them just a basic level of certification is usually $10,000 to $20,000, and increased like income in just income taxes or just the taxes that come from somebody making more money. Like, we'll get that back in 3 to 5 years. Done. So as long as you don't leave the state for 3 to 5 years, we're good. Like, we're in the black. But then you still have another 30, 40 years of making a higher wage, living a better life, and Missouri gets all the economic benefits from that too.
Yeah, that's great. I said somebody too big, Paul Lano. I don't know. Say, what's your thoughts on the conclusion of Missouri months-long southern border deployment?
Missouri National Guard was called to serve, and they went and followed their orders. I mean, there's not much to say about it. They, like, whether I agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. The nation called them to serve. They went and did their duty, and I bless them for it. We do
Yeah,
have a real problem at our southern border, but here in Missouri, we don't have much of an immigration problem, especially in St. Charles, uh, or at least not like Texas does. And that's why my biggest focus would be to go after those that actually employ illegal immigrants, because chasing down the actual, like, chasing down immigrants, or like illegal migrants, or whatever you want to call them, on an individual basis. These are people who have spent the last several years of their life running from various world governments, and more or less successfully so. So you're gonna spend so much money trying to arrest these people, and you're also ultimately going to end up arresting somebody who just looks like they don't have their documentation. So you're going to have more than a few false positives in there too. That we're just going to beat up an American citizen and run them through the immigration gambit anyway, just because they forgot their ID that one day. But if you go after those that employ people illegally, well, they have assets here. They can't really run. They've got a whole business. They got acres and acres of farmland, that is they either need to run, leave the country, and become an illegal immigrant themselves, or pay up, stop hiring illegals, and pay the consequences for breaking the law and funneling money out of our state and over international borders. And we know where they live. We know exactly where they are. So get them. Like, we don't even need new laws for that. We just need to refocus our law enforcement efforts.
Yeah, thank you. I think we've done a good job with you, and we are happy we had you today. And from our own side, the little time you have seen our platform and the way I will approach you and what we try to represent, well, what do you think? What can you say about us?
I'm just so excited. This is such a positive community with excellent questions. I've seen nothing but just positivity and, like, just genuine, well thought out questions, and good interactions. I only wish it grew more. I wish you the best. If there's anything I could do to help, let me know.
Okay.
Actually, I should probably put you in touch with there's a representative from Telemundo that lives and works just actually probably down the street from you right now. I'll send you
Okay.
his card after this.
Okay. I would like to have him or whatever. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you for coming down. And I must confess, um, when you consolidate and sustain the continuity of this simplicity you have showcased, I want to tell you, you will not just end up with quality legislative representation, but you have a human face in all your endeavor. As a Catholic,
Thank you.
I am a Catholic, I'm a practicing Catholic. I had my first degree in the seminary. I studied philosophy in a Catholic seminary. So I know what Sacrosanctum Concilium is, the sacred constitution of the liturgy in the Catholic Church that bring about conscience for leaders. You know, conscience for leaders. So as a practicing Catholic, which you have clearly declared, even in your profile everywhere, you're a practicing
Mhm.
Catholic. Um, I am of the of a strong faith that you are going to do well by God's grace.
I sure hope so. And
Yeah.
I must, everyone that's watching, please remember to go vote on August 6th. These primaries are always so tightly contested. In the last 10 years, we've had 3 primaries that came in, or sorry, the last 10, or the last time we did this, we had, 3 primaries that came in at less than 100 votes that decided who wins or who loses. There's another 2 primaries that came within another one came in within 14 votes on the Democrat side. Another one came in with just 4 votes between who got the seat and who didn't for that primary election. So go vote. It matters. These are going to be close races, and so it is truly important that you go vote.
Yeah, very important because sometimes there's a novelist in Nigeria called Chinedu Anichi. He said when an outsider tells your story, it can never end without prejudice. So it's better to tell your own story. So talk your talk, go and vote your votes so that you don't complain. So the only way, you don't complain. If you
Yes.
sit down at home, you're not voting, you're not doing anything, you are indifferent. So you don't complain because you didn't take action. So you have to take action, justify your action, and then even if it didn't come out your own way, you have that consolation that I did my best. So than for somebody to be completely indifferent and there's this norm. But we continue to talk to our people. We use this platform to talk to them to really go and do the needful. We pray that after 5 days, something positive will come out. And we continue to open our arms also to accept the will of God. Yes, because leadership for us, those who are conscious of the scripture, we believe that leadership, earthly thrones and dynasties is established by divinity. And so says the scripture in Hebrews. He said, no one takes the honor upon himself. He must be called by God as Aaron was. So the calling comes from God, but the answer comes from you. So that's why you really need to aspire. You need to aspire. You need to pursue the political, seat. Why is God that finally declare who becomes and who does not? But my prayer is that you're one of us here. So we're proud to have you. And we're proud to say tomorrow, we'll have one of our state senate who is part of this show. So thank
I tell
you.
you what, if you guys, if I end up winning, I'll be a regular.
Yeah, that's great. That would be great. That would be great. That would be great. I'll be happy. I'll be happy to have you continuously as a serving state senate. So I'll be so happy. And God will do it for us.
With your support.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So finally, we are done with you today. We have gotten the much we need from you. All we need now is to go and vote. But before we
Go
draw the,
vote.
what's your general message to all our audience and your own audience, and to those who will see this video after now?
Remember to vote. This is a very contentious year. I don't talk like a normal Republican. I haven't thrown shade at any of my opponents. You haven't seen me put out a single attack ad, and you haven't seen me say one bad thing about them. Yet they are tearing each other apart while more children are dying on their watch, and they are the ones calling them Christians. Please remember to if someone has to tell you that they are a Christian, then they're probably not living the values. The gospel is something that we demonstrate through our actions. So please look for that and go vote. There are other candidates just like me in this Republican race, and they need your vote just as badly as I do.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I think my people, you have seen Dan Conora, and he was here showcasing us simplicity and humility and sense of interfaith. And my people, you have seen him, and we continue to pray for him. We continue to support him when need be. The punchline is go and vote. Go and vote. Very, very important. Don't be indifferent to exercising that constitutional right. It's very, very important. So please, that's what he's parting with that advice. Go and vote. Thank you, Dan. Remember,
and if anybody didn't get their questions answered, I am very easy to find. I have a Facebook page and every social media out there. So send me a message. I'd be happy to answer it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Remember, my name is Chinedu Anichi, and this is Chinedu Anichi TV, African Voice in Diaspora. We center on humanity. We believe that our main core values core values are, first of all, we rise by lifting others. The second one is humanity is at the center of what we do. Anything we do and is not favorable to humanity, we are indifferent to it. Anything. So thank you for coming and thank you for showing up.